November 15th, 2020. Hope everyone's having a great day. Patrick here, Pat on Your Back Personal Fitness with PatFacts, our Sunday night talk. A little more information, a little more motivation. Just trying to create that, again, complete picture to complement those workouts that we've been doing. So again, thanks to all those who checked out the replay this morning. I'll stretch it out Sunday. Again, we're back live very soon. We're just finalizing some things here in the gym, and also the details for the virtual program, so we can launch that very soon. So stay tuned for some information coming on that. I think I'll be doing kind of probably a video like this, like a PatFacts type thing, where we'll talk about the program, what it entails, and then you can answer any questions you might have as well. So stay tuned for some details coming on that very shortly. But I want to start very, very soon because I know you want to start very, very soon. And I miss those live workouts and being with you guys. So again, we're going to get that going soon. A few things here in the home gym just to get situated and set up so we're ready to go. And then, as I mentioned, part of the virtual will be adding to what we've been doing so far. So really looking forward to that. And that ties into our new beginnings that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. So again, excited to start that next chapter and have everyone on board with me as well. So hope everyone had a great weekend. I didn't blow away today. It was pretty windy here in Ontario. So buckle down, hold on to something if you need to, make sure we're staying safe. And remember, just a reminder that we need to look ahead, plan according to the weather. It's different this year. It's going to be a little bit this month. This year is very different too. But this month, it's one of those transition months. It could be a little bit of everything. It was very warm last week, and now again, it's more seasonal with lots of wind and things around. So we need to layer up, be prepared, check ahead before you head outside. If you're doing any outdoor workouts or anything, again, make sure you're prepared for those. Dress accordingly. Better to layer up. It's easier to have to remove layers if you get warm than to be out in too few and get cold and have nothing to be able to put on to warm up. So always try to layer up and then adjust as you need to. But again, drink lots of water. And again, as I mentioned before, inside too, when I was at our temporary location at the Airbnb, inside locations are going to change as well. The heat is on. That could make the air maybe a little more dry. If you're downstairs in the basement working out versus upstairs, it's finished, unfinished. Hey, buddy, it's going to change your workout environment. So again, you may have to bring more. Hey, Sheila, good to see you too. It's important now to, again, adapt and modify and change what we're doing. So you may need a little extra water, or again, maybe if your area is a little cooler, those of you in the basement, again, maybe you layer up for a bit so you get that warm up going and feeling a little better and feel hotter. You start to sweat a little bit. Then maybe you can, again, take the layers off just to prepare. But it's all about planning ahead, like we've been talking about, putting those systems in place, having an idea, looking ahead to what we need to do, whether it's for a workout or again for a lot of facets of our life. Our next day preps are looking ahead to the next day. So we want to do lots of those. So that's sort of my focus this week, is to really get in tune with my systems and my setup, and looking ahead to help us move forward. So that, again, we can all move forward together in our program. So never hurts to check in and see how you're doing. Again, we're 8 months in, about roughly right today, basically, or sometime around this, the middle of March is when all this sort of started. So we're 8 months into this, looking like we're kind of going a little bit backwards because we're being sort of asked to restrict what we're doing as far as contact. So again, plan and prepare. Make sure you have your things ready, have yourself ready for different situations, give yourself extra time. And again, it's mid-month. So if you started with me right around this time we started, maybe just after. I think I started workouts first. I got to go back and see when the first PatFacts was. I checked Not So Wiseman, as Bunny knows, the other show I do on Monday nights, but I haven't checked this one yet. So I just actually stumbled upon Wiseman. That's how I knew. But again, it's been about 8 months. So always if you're on that kind of mid-month schedule, again, now's the time to check in. How are things going? We talked the other night about being kind and being very purposeful this weekend about how can I put kindness into the situation? How did that go? How did you feel doing that? Check in with those little challenges, but also check in with how things have been going so far with the big goals that you've been working towards, whether again they're fitness or nutrition, whatever the case is. We always want to have those check-ins and those follow-ups to be sure we're on track and to make sure we're getting toward that goal we want. And if not, remember, it's not the end of the world. It's more maybe some more trial and error, maybe some tweaking and adjusting needs to happen to make sure that we're getting the results that we're looking for within our journey, whatever again that is, fitness journey, financial, spiritual, whatever it is that you're working on right now to make yourself the best version of you can be. Yeah, we just it's a trial and error. We come to forks in the roads. We've got to take them. Which way do you want to go? Again, ideally, if you make that plan based on that goal, you'll know the route to take. Every once in a while, life's going to throw something at you that may change that route a little bit, maybe give you a detour. But again, if you plan and prepare, you know the most, hey, Natty, you know the most efficient route to take. And then you can follow that route and have ideally a very efficient and smooth trip to that goal. But again, life happens, things are going to come up. So it's just important to be prepared for those. Like I said, perfect example this time of year is the weather. It was 20 degrees a few days ago, and now it's closer to freezing with lots of wind and rain. So it's going to change. We got home the other day, and there was like a 1 minute, literally 1 minute freezing rain shower, and then it stopped and it was gone. So again, looking ahead, preparing, thinking of what you have to do day to day. If you're going to go to the store, give yourself that time. The store I work at today, there was some downed wires because of the wind. The power went out. That slowed everything down even more. So people were getting put through the checkout still, but it was a slower process, and probably bit by bit, if I'm sure, I guess they're on batteries maybe, as that starts to run out, or if the network happens to cut out because of the lack of power, that's slowing things down. So just in the few minutes it took me to clock out, change my shoes, and head to the car, there was already a lineup outside of people, and there hadn't really been throughout the day. So again, always give yourself that extra time, always plan ahead. Better to over prepare than under prepare, especially right now. There's so many factors that can come into play, which is just something simple like going to the store. So again, make sure you're prepared, and then again, take the lessons you've been learning and apply them to these other areas. So if you've been good at putting systems in place for personal development, or the fitness routine, or the new nighttime routine that we've started, and then again, now you can take some of those lessons and apply them to other areas of your life, or think, I put so much kindness into these situations over the weekend. How can I keep doing that? Or what did I do to help me put that kindness in? And how can I replicate that? Or how can I take that focus of kindness and maybe work on patience in situations? How can I have more patience with dealing with people, which could in turn create more kindness? Or how do I have more adaptability? How do I adapt on the fly? Again, it's planning, it's preparation, it's going through some of these processes. So the more we do it, the better we become at it. And as we've talked about, the better we become, that gives us more momentum going forward to help us, again, grow and develop and make other areas of our life more efficient. It's kind of what we're trying to do. Not necessarily be perfect at anything, but we want to be very efficient, high performing, so that again, everything is not quite effortless, but fluid. Everything to be fluid for us. So again, we talked about focus. You can be focused on your task. You can be focused on this right now. You're focused on PatFacts. That's it. You're not here and over here and checking this, checking that. You're focused now on all of us together. And then when this is over, then you're on to that next piece, that next task, that next moment. And you may think back, oh yeah, we talked about kindness or planning, whatever, but you're probably not going to dwell on things too much. We've moved on. That's how we want our life to be able to focus on our work. And then again, move on to home time and focus on home time so that again, when we go back to work, we don't feel guilty because we weren't maybe all there with our families because we were thinking about work or something we didn't do or what needs to come up. So again, always look at those check-in points and that scheduling, that planning, and try to take those lessons and apply them and be really overly prepared right now because everything is, again, it's different. It's changing again. It's getting back change wise to kind of how it was in March. Every couple of days, something's different. There's some more regulations or a different recommendation coming down for people as far as group numbers and visiting, things like that. So again, it's back to that kind of max flex time where we have to adapt on the fly. So what can we control? The controllables. That's all we can control. The things that we can control. Focus on those and we'll be okay. But that's the big thing to focus on. Again, controllables, and that's part of that. Again, that plan and that process. And every month or so, I kind of pop in and remind you of this because again, we want it to be lifestyle. We want it to be automatic, where you have a plan and a process, and then you take that and apply it to the other areas of your life. Again, you'll tweak it, but you have that kind of groundwork or that blueprint to use. And then again, that makes you more efficient. Then each time you apply that plan, all these skills and all these mindsets and muscles and movements and all these ways in what we're trying to ascend all improve together. And the more we do it, the more efficient we'll be at that improvement. Because again, we have the system in place. The more we use that system, we can tweak it, adjust it. If we start from scratch, pardon the pun, Natty, all the time, then we're always recreating, we're always trial and error, we're always trying to learn and adapt. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we can use the same system, then we just tweak. It's more, again, more efficient. We can get more use out of what we're doing. We'll probably get to our results faster by the time we get to our second and third and fourth goals, because again, that system is just there, and each time it gets more efficient because we take out the little kinks and the bugs. Thinking of like an app on your phone, the updates come in, it fixes the bugs, it fixes those little things that just aren't working efficiently enough. And a lot of it could be stuff we don't even notice using it, but it's background things. But if they fix it, then it works more efficiently. It works a little better. Maybe it doesn't use up as much battery life in our phones. Same thing with us. So we can change our systems and keep our apps up to date. Then again, those processes are more efficient and they work better. So then we won't have to stress out about things quite as much or use quite as much energy towards planning and getting ready and trying to figure things out, when we can maybe spend that energy going through that process, or maybe have that energy for something else, because again, we have the process that runs so smoothly. So again, you can see where all these plans and processes, again, I come back to it basically every once a month, usually around the 15th, because that's sort of that anniversary date of what's been going on. But again, it's important to check in and to have that reminder and to keep consistent with that as much as we can. I hope for a lot of you, you've progressed. If you've been with me most of the time, and I know some of you have, who are here tonight, have progressed through to a couple different goals now, or you're still really laser focused on that big goal that you're getting towards. But again, as we check off those lists and go through, each time should be a little easier because of the success of the first goal and the process and the journey. And that should have an effect on those second and third goals and further down the list. But again, we're more efficient. We're a better system. We're a well-oiled machine. So again, we can be more efficient in what we do. Going back to our kindness challenge, Bonnie says, I saw this quote today. Kindness is the highest form of emotional intelligence. Awesome. She says, I love it. Yes, I do too, Bonnie. That's great. Kindness is the highest form of emotional intelligence. I like that. That's a great one, Bonnie. And it's so true. It's just that being aware, I think, is maybe what it comes down to, or how I kind of take that quote. Kindness should be common sense, but as Brendan Burchard says, common sense isn't always common practice. And unfortunately, kindness is one of those things that typically again gets thrown by the wayside because we're overstressed, we're overtired, we're anxious about something coming up. We're not sure how the thing we did today is going to turn out. Um, we're getting alerts and pings all the time. Again, we're stressed out, and that's kindness. Again, typically that common sense of being kind to someone usually gets pushed aside. It's just not thought of as much because there's so much going on up here. So if you can be aware of it and invested in it and make sure it's common practice, be alert and aware of your surroundings, that's where that emotional intelligence comes in, is that you're aware of being kind. So you're so tuned in and you're so mentally turned on and focused that you're aware to be kind to people. And it gives it an um, extra kind of meaning behind it, or it's a little more authentic if you're more aware of it and you're cognizant of it and you're very consistent with your kindness. People will see that, people will notice that, and people will feel good from experiencing time with you. And that's what we want. We want to be able to be kind to people around us. Hopefully they're kind back to us as well. And then again, we can all lift each other up a little bit and feel a little better. And Natty says, very nice, Bonnie. She likes your quote. So good job for you, Bonnie. Thanks. I like that. Where did you see that, Bonnie? Or if you don't mind me asking, where did you see the quote? But it's a good one. Yeah. So again, if you missed it, kindness is the highest form of emotional intelligence. Was a quote Bonnie saw today. Again, being aware, being cognizant of what we're doing, being alert, being mentally tuned in. For a lot of us during the day, again, because there's so much going on, we kind of go on autopilot or kind of check out. We're just trying to go through the motions to get this thing done, to get to the next thing. And sometimes we, again, aren't as aware as we should be. So again, if we can be more in tune to what we're doing, again, that's going to come back to that focus skill we've talked about, being more focused in what we're doing. That's also a form of emotional intelligence, being able to tune out everything else and focus on whatever the task is at the moment, whether it's something like this, whether it's some office work, whether it's family time, whether it's talking to a friend on the phone. We want to be in that moment at that time so that, again, we can get the most out of it and then happily move on to the next moment, or at least feel good about what we've done so that we can switch on to that next task or that next event that we need to go to. Bonnie saw it on Facebook. So there you go. Something insightful on Facebook. It's always nice to hear because it's not always that way. So we'll take it. Good stuff, Bonnie. That's your research for the day. Good work. So yeah, let's take that. Let's think of that emotional intelligence, that tuning in. And again, if you're joining us for workouts, you'll hear me talk about mind muscle connection and thinking of the muscles we're trying to use and the movements we're trying to make. So that, again, that mind muscle connection is very sharp. And also we're used to using our mind. We're keeping it engaged and activated. It doesn't kind of switch into autopilot and just take us through motions and moves and, again, try to just get us to the end of the workout or to the end of the task. That will be part of this as well, having that sharp mind connection, that sharp awareness, that alertness of the mind, that, again, if it's more engaged, it's more likely to think of being kind towards someone else, or maybe better handling the stressors that are around you, so that, again, you don't get so uptight and tense yourself and forget to be kind, or maybe too short with someone. We want to, again, spread that kindness and that positivity around. So I like that. It's a very great quote, Bonnie. Thank you. Let's use that and build on that for the rest of going into this week, because it kind of builds on our kindness that we talked about on Friday, and being aware of it and being aware of our situations. It kind of ties in with our gratitude now practice that we built up in October. That, again, hopefully you're continuing on with. If not, again, try tonight. Find a journal, find an app, whatever the case is. Just take a few moments, write down the 3 things that you're most grateful for. Just do a daily thing, couple minutes, maybe a little quiet time with it, just to think about what it is, or also to show appreciation. Think about who you're grateful for or what you're grateful for, but then take a moment to appreciate it as well, acknowledge it. So again, it kind of gives you that extra jolt of positivity and energy. Hey, Kimmy, that again helps carry us in through our day. And now that ties in with our focus as well, building that kind of focus muscle and that focus skill. And again, it all comes back to that emotional intelligence, that mind being on, that mind being alert. And that's why we do different things sometimes in the class with a weight, or we'll grab something else, or just do body weight, or we'll do it on 1 foot versus 2. Maybe we'll sit versus stand. Maybe we'll get into BOSUs and stability balls once we get there. That just adds different things to, again, keep the mind engaged. Yes, it improves the body and adds a functional element, some of those things, but it also keeps the mind engaged, and that's what we want. Anytime. But for me as a fitness coach, I want that in my classes or in my one-on-one sessions. I want the mind engaged because, again, that leads to better results. You can better recruit the muscles you want to use and get more out of those exercises, get more efficiency out of your time in the gym, in the workout. And then again, that skill transfers to other areas of our life. Like we talked about our processes transferring. Those skills help as well. That sharp mind, again, could help us be more kind. Maybe we could be a little more alert at work and get a few more things done. We can make more use of our time so that we don't have to spend more time at work or doing the work. If you've read or heard of the 4-Hour Work Week book by Tim Ferriss, which I haven't read yet, full disclosure, but in listening to his podcast and hearing him, a lot of people got excited hearing the book title and then read it and were a little kind of surprised or shocked about it. But it isn't just to work 4 hours a week. The idea is to make yourself very efficient so you can make the most out of your time. Because basically, when you look at all the time we actually work between getting distracted and meetings and this and that, it was about 4 hours almost of good quality work. So again, it was creating the systems and the processes so that we could make the most efficiency out of our time, to get the most out of that 4 hours or those 10 minutes or whatever the case is out of that work. So that's what we're trying to do with all aspects of our life, make ourselves as efficient as we can so we can get the most quality of movement, the best quality of sleep, the best quality of rest, the best quality of growing and learning some new skill. We want to have that mental acuity, that mental awareness to help us continue to grow and evolve. Hey, Shelly, thanks for hopping on here. Natty says, I love the BOSU. Nice. I used to be able to do squats on it. You can again, Natty. Well, careful of your knee, obviously. But if you were careful with it, you could probably get up to it a little bit. Kimmy says, squats make my bum hurt. They will, Kimmy. They'll get the glutes for you. You can get into that as well. So, but again, yeah, those different tools. A BOSU is good, or a stability ball is good because you get some, hey, Eric, thanks for hopping on. You get some core activation, which is nice. But also, again, it's that mental activation because the BOSU is unstable and your mind and muscles have to react to that instability. Whatever you do to the BOSU, it does back to you. Remember that from physics class. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So who thought I'd use physics? So when you push into a BOSU or a stability ball or a balance pod, something like this that's full of air, when you push into it, it's going to push back at you. And that push back makes the muscles have to adapt, and the mind has to recruit the muscles in a certain way to make sure that they move efficiently and can help them maintain their balance or complete that squat on top of it to make sure that good form is kept, to make it as efficient as we can, but also to grow and evolve and continue to move forward. Bonnie says, I hate math. Yeah, I was never a big fan of it either, Bonnie. It was really tough. And I didn't think I would really use, again, like physics and a few different things. And then some of these laws and inertia and things like that have come up. And I think, oh, I learned that in school, I guess. So luckily I did learn things. And now I'm applying some of it. So it's that kind of role. Any action has an equal and opposite reaction back to it. Anything that is in motion will stay in motion unless a force acts on it, inertia. So, but when we run and move, we would keep moving until we act on ourselves. We use our muscles to slow ourselves down and break ourselves and stop us, not break ourselves, but break ourselves and stop ourselves. So those are, again, how we can think of some of those make sense of some of the movements and exercises we do, because we can relate it to that terminology, thinking of it. Why are we doing this exercise? Because it helps us stop. If we're not able to stop, we would just run into things all the time, or we couldn't change direction. Agility, as Shelley will be aware of from our works with Peter Twist, is the ability to change direction quickly. You're going one way, you stop and you switch back the other way. You don't have to gradually stop and freeze and then go the other way. You can push a step and take a step and plant and push off that foot and go the opposite way, or turn the body and go. That's agility work and moving. And we all use agility every single day, just with different steps and foot placements and moving. So we need to train those systems and get them efficient. And again, that's that mind-muscle connection, because it needs to be very quick and happen to recruit the right muscles in the right sequence to make sure that we can step, stop the body, and then plant and push off the opposite way without hurting ourselves. So again, you can see all these things come back in, all these life lessons that we didn't know we needed at the time, and we'll never use that. Some of it we do. A lot of it we do. We just don't realize that we do, because it's not there as a, hey, this is grade 12 chemistry, or this is grade 10 math. It just happens. It's just there. We deal with it. We use it. But if you thought about it, there probably are a few things that you do day to day that, again, we did learn about. Do you really need to know all the details of it now? Probably not. But just being aware of the concept and maybe hearing a coach say, here's why we're doing this exercise, may make your mind say, oh, that makes sense. I need to do this every day. I need to be able to move around, because I have to chase my new puppy when I take him outside, or I have to chase my kids or my grandkids, or I have to move around the copier at work, and sometimes people jar out from behind their desk and I have to stop quickly. All those things are athletic movements, and they're drills that involve mental awareness, strong mind-muscle connection, and an efficient body to move and adapt and react to what's going on with us, with around and around us. I have some more hate for math here. It's funny the topics we get into in the chats. And Kimmy says, I'm smart, SMRT. That's true, Kimmy, very good. That's what I expected. That's a Homer Simpson quote for those that aren't sure. SMRT. With the foam roller I used, Trigger Point, they had a core class that was called Smart Core, and the SMRT was an acronym, but they used SMRT instead of SMART. So it was kind of a funny course that they had. They don't offer it now, but it was kind of funny to see Smart Core with SMRT as the acronym to be used. So now we're revisiting high school. Algebra was a waste of time, says Natty. Yeah, it was kind of tricky. But you never know. Again, it's there sometimes. You use it. Looking at the power of x to the power of 2. When don't you need to know that, right? But again, thinking back to your school, since we're here and talking about it, you had a plan, you had a process in place, you had a system in place. You had a schedule, you had a timetable to go to. You went from this class to this class, you had a break, maybe another class, lunch, another class, your home, or after school programs. Whatever the case, there was a system and a process that we had to follow. We're no different now. We thrive on that system and that planning and that process. The difference is now it's on us to create it. Whereas before, the school system would create it, or your workplace creates it. Here's our shifts, here's our morning break, here's lunch. We work until this time, quitting time's at 5, you're here till then, and then you're on your own. We're provided a lot of those systems, so it's easy because it's there for us. We just follow along. The tricky part now is creating our own systems that work for us, that get us the results we want. So at work, you have the start time, you have quitting time, the end of the day, and then you get as much done in between as you can, but you're given kind of those points. You're creating your goal, and now you need to figure out how to get there and what the system is in place and where you need to put in breaks, check-in points, and celebrating small wins. You need to create that. That's where the work comes in. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, that's when they fall off. That's when they don't have success. because they don't put the work in because it's too hard, because they were too used to the routine given to them, and then they could follow along. But anything worth having is worth working hard for. So that's where the ultimate reward comes in, where you can set the goal, work backwards to today, and put those steps in place and make those systems, or take the system from 3 months ago and apply it to whatever's going on today. Again, you have to tweak it and adjust it to make it specific, but that's what we do. That's what we have to do. And again, the work is on us to figure out the system that works for us by learning from others, by researching, by trying things. It's not always going to work 100% of the time. You got to try different things and work on different ways that work best for you. Kimmy's way versus Shelly's way versus Bonnie's way versus Natty's way versus Sheila's way versus my way. So they're all going to be different. We have to think of what's going to work best for us. And maybe you pick and choose certain things from different coaches or different leaders or different friends. And again, put your spin on it. Make it work best for you. That's how we're going to get the results we want. That's how we're going to ascend till the end. That's how we're going to be the best version of ourselves we can be, is by putting in the work. Regardless of what your goal is, it's going to take work. If it was easy, there would be people like me or Shelly who coach fitness and coach people how to work towards their goals. There wouldn't be teachers, because you would just know things. You would just learn things and pick them up. But we guide you along the way, help you where you need help, kind of point you in that right direction that you need to be pointed in from time to time, and just help you stay on the right track. But we can't do the work for you. You've got to do the work yourself. But again, back to what we said before, the more you can work on those systems and those processes, then that can transfer to other facets of your life. So now you've got a plan in place. So now you just follow the plan. Then you get back to that school and that work feeling of there's a little less on your plate. There's a little less of a burden because the plan's taken care of. The process is taken care of because you know it already. And then you just have to apply it and go. So a little bit of, well, I shouldn't say a little bit, but a bit of work now is going to pay off in less work being needed down the road. Because again, you're more efficient. You have those systems in place and you have seen results. So you know that it works. Shelly says, Pat, have you found with some people that any pain they feel they don't want to try or even modify because they think they're going to hurt? Yeah, I've seen that with some people, Shelly, for sure. And some, I think, also don't know the difference between pain and just a tired muscle, as I'm sure you've seen as well, where it's a little bit of fatigue or a little bit of moving. But yeah, I've come across people where if they feel that pain, they don't want to try or modify. It takes a lot sometimes to convince them that we're not going to do things that hurt you. Let's modify and find a way to work around that as best we can. And if we can't, then go get it checked on and fixed if needed. And then let's come back and do something, or let's leave that. Say it's a knee, a lower body thing. Okay, let's do what we can upper body wise to keep that routine going and to keep you here and to keep you on track. And then when that gets better, okay, let's bring that back in. And that's where a team works well, because we can go to physio or go to massage and have those things taken care of. And hopefully they'll work well with your fitness coach and all these other assets. We want to have a nice team around you so that they all work together and communicate well to, again, make you the best version of yourself you can be. Shelly says, I've encountered a lot of that lately. There's sharp pain versus muscles working and DOMS, or delayed onset muscle soreness. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, Shelly, that I've kind of talked to, I haven't been working with a ton, but I'm even some outside people that I've had some classes with. I think a lot of people are just stiff and tight because we've been maybe sitting a lot more if they've been off work for a few months, off school, or not having the same routine they used to, or can't get to the gym like they used to. Things tighten up, things seize up because it's not being used. If you don't use it, you lose it. That old adage comes back. So yeah, I think that's part of it too, is just some of that stiffness and tiredness and the muscles not being used. Maybe not drinking enough water, being dehydrated, not taking good care of ourselves, not getting the rest we need so things can recover. Maybe they need to just kind of ease back into things. And some people think they can just jump back into where they were. They took a break, or they were off, or things were closed and things open. I think, great, I was running 10K on a treadmill in under an hour, let's go. And they set the same speed and the same incline and they go. And then they hurt for 6 days after, or they hurt themselves because they did too much too soon. You have to ease back into things. And it could even be a bit of a mental thing too, where maybe they're stressed and uptight and tense because of what's going on, or different things happening because of what's going on. We've talked before about how they're finding that chronic pain. This is kind of a stress indicator that maybe we need to settle things down. So maybe there's other factors there too. But I think everyone's just on high alert. So maybe the least little bit of a pain or discomfort can maybe trigger something in them as well, that they feel that they just need to stop. When hopefully we can, again, within our scope, work around it and find ways to modify it, or try to get to the root of what's causing it, or again, send them on if they need to, but at least try to modify in how we can. And just try to build that trust where they know that they can trust us to modify and communicate. They communicated that pain initially. So let's hear what is working, what's feeling good, what's not hurting so much, so we can continue on with those sorts of things. And then again, that's feedback that they can take with them if they have to meet with a physio or a chiro or a massage therapist, or something like that they may need to down the road, if it's like that. Sounds good, Shelly. Yeah, let's chat about that sometime, about your clients. Everything hurts. Yeah, it sounds like there could be a few different things there that are going on, and maybe they just need to work on some things. Shelly says, yes, I'm stiff, but still working through it. Definitely. I'm not used to this pain that I've encountered over 7 months. But as you know, and we know, we have to keep moving to feel better again. Exactly. Movement is medicine. We need to get our movements in. We need to move the body around. I know even for me, not going live regularly, I'm not getting my own workouts in as much and I'm not teaching the classes. So I feel stiff and tired and kind of tight. I got to get back into some movement and get moving a bit and do some foam rolling, or some stretching. If you're like, want to go for just a walk around the block, something to do and get out and move. Again, it can just help us feel a little bit better. And again, if we've been stiff and tight, we need to move. But again, we need to be smart about it and listen to our bodies and maybe ease ourselves into it and see how things feel, and then build up. We'll probably get to where we were before faster because there's muscle memory and the body knows what it takes to get there now, because again, we've practiced it. We've got a program or a procedure in place, but we need to ease into it and start lower and work ourselves back up after an extended break. And now maybe we need to up our movement a little bit, because maybe we don't be as active as we usually are, because again, things are closed or restricted, or there's different things that we can't do that we used to do. Seasons changing. That's going to my window's over there, so I pointed that way. That's going to change again what we can do outside and what activities are available and how much daylight there is to do things. So we have to maybe modify and adjust our plan to what works better for this time of year to make sure we're keeping active and keeping moving. Remember, it doesn't always have to be exercise. Movement is the key. Activity. That's where we start. We always want to get at least some activity in every day. Exercise is that next level where we get extra health benefits and growth, but just at least movement every day, and trying to just make the body feel a little better. And those movements help again flush some of that stiffness and that soreness that are there. The muscles get oxygen and nutrients that they need. They get rid of stuff they don't need when we can move and breathe a little heavier and use the muscles and make them move around. So even something like a stretch, do a little walk or warm up and some stretching. It's low impact, but it's movement. It's helping the body heal and recover, helping the mind unwind and recover a little bit. And we need those things every day. Shelly says, it's a bugger. Watch your language, Shelly. And I feel like I'm starting from the beginning to middle. Yeah, it's okay. I'm coming back. That a girl, Shelly. Let's keep moving. The beginner to middle level. Yeah, so when we need to do that sometimes, take a step back If you've ever been, thanks, Bonnie. Stay safe as well. Thanks for being here. If you've ever been on vacation and stopped your workouts, we always have good intentions. When I go on, I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to go to the hotel gym. I'm going to work out and then get on with my day. Not many people stick to that because there's so many things on the go. But that's another topic we'll talk about another time. But when you come back, a lot of people just jump back into where they were. And that's a little too much because the body's kind of regressed. It's gone backwards a little bit because you weren't using it. You weren't adapting. You weren't growing. You weren't pushing yourself. So the body goes, well, we were at this level, pushing ourselves towards kind of our level. But the last 2 weeks, we were kind of down here. So this is where we need to be now. We don't need to be able to get up here. We need to be here. So again, your end zone kind of comes down a little bit. Again, the good news is you can get back there because the body's done it, the mind's done it, there's memory there. Again, it just takes a bit of time. So any extended break, we want to ease back into things. Come off an injury, we want to definitely ease back into things. But even just being away for a little bit, ideally we try to work at ways to at least maintain while we're away. And again, we can talk about that maybe on another PatFacts. We want to do that at least if we can, so that again, when we come back, we're still here. We didn't drop to here because we maintained what we had. So now we can just get back into it and progress and go forward. But then again, even things like jet lag and those sorts of things, if you're traveling, have an effect on you as well. So you have to take those factors into account. But yeah, it's always good if you've been away for an extended period of time, or your level is coming down, or you're not maintaining, but maybe it's a low level thing. Something's better than nothing. But again, if you're getting back into your routine, good to ease into it, get a feel for it, see how you're doing, let the body and the mind adapt, and then again, carry on and grow as you're ready. And again, you'll get back to that point. Once you're back into your routine, you're back on your process and your plan that we keep coming back to. Once you're back into that and consistent, you'll get right back to where you were very quickly, quicker than you did the first time. And then you can carry on with that progression again. So again, that's one of those places where it's important to know your process and your plan and to understand that it's okay to take a step back sometimes, to go back a couple of steps, to take a few steps forward, because you're going to get to that place. You know where you're going. You know what the process is. You know how to get there. So let's take a couple steps back and kind of get some momentum going again and get back to where we were before. So again, a lot of people, when they go away, they come back, they do that workout that they did before they left, and it's not there. They get frustrated, and then they just give up. Well, I can't take a break, so what's the point? Because I have to travel and whatever. But that's a learning process. It's knowing what to do, again, when we're away, to minimize the loss if we can, or when we get back, scale it back, get back into things, and the results will come back to you. But don't be too hard on yourself. Get back to your plan, your procedure, whatever your system. That's what keeps us going. Again, you keep seeing the pattern here. Systems, 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 systems. Look at a high performer, look at a business, look at a company. Systems, systems, systems. They have systems in place that make things efficient, that allow things to happen at a high level, so that either other things can take the energy they need to get going, because this is kind of, again, running efficiently and smoothly, or again, everything itself just moves together as one, because the systems can be adapted from one area to the other. And that's what we need to do. We need to think of ourselves as a high functioning machine or a business. We need systems in place for different areas. That's what I'm developing by trying to go virtual for everyone. I'm developing a system so that if you want to be coached by me one-on-one, here's the systems that I follow, that you'll follow, that we will follow. If you're going to join our virtual fitness program, where we're going to have classes and different equipment and different things on the go, taking up our workouts that we've been doing live on the mornings since March. Again, I got to put systems in place to make sure it's efficient, to make sure I get your registration information, to have you in the system, to have you in the group you're supposed to be in, and that you have the systems to know that on Tuesdays I need this piece of equipment or this mat or this, to know where you're going. We all need systems in place. So that's where we talk about gratitude, challenges, and practices. That's where we talk about kindness and being our emotional intelligence, keeping it at a high level. These are all systems. When I talk about taking your success of your goal from March and applying it to what you're working on now, that's the system. That's making that system. That's making you, the machine, work efficient and grow and evolve and be able to have a big impact on the community and the world around you. And that's what we all want to have, is be able to leave that legacy, to leave that that reputation of, oh, they were always so happy and they were always worked hard and they were always there when we needed them and they always did what was asked and then some, because they always seemed so organized because they had systems in place. That's what gets us going. That's what takes us from a low functioning machine, I see that, Natty, to a high functioning machine. It's systems, it's trial and error, it's practice. Again, just like that riding the bike, you didn't just get on a bike and ride it. We talked about before. You had a tricycle, there was training wheels, someone held the seat for you. You fell a bunch of times, but eventually you got it because you build up the system, you build up the plan, you build up the procedure to learn how to ride the bike and to balance on it and feel for it. And then it gets stored up here. So whenever you get on a bike, there may be a few wiggles, wobbles, but you get right back into it. The rust kind of shakes off you, and then you go. And then you can kind of keep moving. But again, it's the systems. And again, that comes back to the work. If we want to be more efficient, if we want to grow, if we want to ascend until the end, if you want to be operationally fit, all the lingo and taglines that we're throwing out there, if you want to lose a bit of weight, if you want to get stronger, if you want to sleep better, if you want to have less stress, if you want to have better relationships, you want to have a better job, if you want to have better skills, if you want to learn another language, it's all going to take work. That's the key factor. That's what we all have to understand and realize. It's going to take a bit of work, and it's not going to happen like that. It's going to take time. So be consistent, like we talked about. Be patient with yourself and your systems, and let them take their course. Put the work in to get the results you need. An NBA team doesn't just go and win a championship. They put in work. They put in practice. They study film. They travel. They work on their recovery and their nutrition. They find that little edge they can find and try to apply these things. But they put in the work. We're all athletes as well. Our championship is just a little bit different. Our sport is just different, but we're all athletes. But we've got to put in work. That's going to be the difference in you now versus you in a few weeks. That's going to be the difference in you versus maybe the person around you that's not going to have the success, that's not going to put in the work, that's not going to get that promotion, that's not going to get recognized for how great they are, how kind they are. It's work. Systems in place, plans in place. For sure, giving less stress would be great. We have to try to control that as much as we can. We can't control the outside world. So we either have to control what stress we're exposed to and or how we handle and manage our stress. That's the work for that one. That's where that comes in. Exercise helps, nutrition helps, sleep helps, not watching too much media helps. Who you're around and how many alerts and notifications you get on your phone helps. So again, we have to do a little bit of work, a little bit of strategy and planning to put those systems in place to help manage the stress as much as we can. And then ideally, if we put that system in place, any extra stress that pops up, we can handle it. We can manage it because we do it all the time by controlling what we can control. We have that system nice and strong. But again, more work now, easier, more efficient system down the road. But it's going to be tough at first because you have to kind of grind and get through it. I used to work for the military, and they would say that for basic training for recruits. It's going to be really hard, basic training. They're really going to test you and push you, be very hard on you. But when you get through that basic training, you put in that work, you go through that commitments, then the rest gets smoother. Maybe not easy, but it gets a lot smoother, more efficient because you've been through that rigor, through that grind, you survived it, and you've grown, you've built yourself as a person, then you can move on. Same thing here. It might take work to have a new bedtime routine and to stick with it and be consistent and get that good night's sleep. There's going to be a few nights where your body won't want to go to sleep because you're so used to staying up late. It's going to take work. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take time and planning, trial and error, and you'll get there. Just be patient, be consistent, tweak as you need to. Don't beat yourself up for rough days, and reach out to a coach. if you need to take that next step. Thanks, Shelly. Shelly's 100%. Definitely good to have you on tonight, Shelly. Hope you guys are doing well. Stay safe down there. We might be talking soon. I might need CPR training. Bonnie says the quote was from Dr. Sean. And again, if you missed it, the quote, if I can get up here, that Bonnie found today from Dr. Sean was, kindness is the highest form of emotional intelligence. And we got into our talk about emotional intelligence and what that means and how it can affect all these factors and how all these things we're doing can affect our emotional intelligence. Again, everything's connected. There's never just one thing that you're working on. There's a main focus, but you're still having effects on all these other components of your life and all these systems. You work physically in a class, but there's mental components, there's spiritual components, there's mind muscle components. There's so many factors to go into that. We can't think of things as just one thing. There's one focus, but underneath there's so many factors that are touched and affected by what we're doing, positively and negatively. That's why it's so important to try to 80-20 the positive as much as we can. Again, nobody's perfect. We're all going to have moments and days, but if we can do as much positive as we can, that's going to give us the results that we're looking for. Hard work, consistency, patience will get us where we need to go. For sure, Shelly. Yeah, thanks. We'll figure out something. I think I'm due for some training, so we'll figure that out. We'll touch base soon. Good to have you on here tonight. Hope we're doing well. Thanks everyone for being here. I appreciate it as always, your support and your interaction. I love these nights where we can have a talk and I can just kind of get us going with a bit of a topic, and then you guys with your comments get us going and keep us moving and have kind of an interaction. Again, if you remember when I was at my outdoor location once, I kind of had both phones face each other because you guys could talk to each other between platforms, Instagram and Facebook. So I'm excited when hopefully I'm able to get to both in one system, then we can all be together in one kind of platform, at least here on my end, where we can see each other's comments. But I love doing this. It's great. So again, thanks for being here. Thank you for being consistent and putting into the work, not just the fitness classes, but putting in that extra work to make yourself even better. That's going to help those fitness classes even more. It's just like they're going to help some of this stuff we talk about here. Again, when we go virtual, we're going to have more guests come on, more subject matter experts from other areas to talk about different things and to help us, again, be more well-rounded. I'm starting to line up those guests already and some of the topics that we're going to talk about and resources. We're already sending things back and forth. So again, that's going to be part of that virtual platform, taking things to that next level. So as I mentioned earlier, stay tuned for, I think it's probably going to be like a video like this, a webinar kind of thing where I can explain the program rather than try to type it out and get to try to make it work for everyone. I think a video is good, and I can talk through it and really explain it. I can take any questions you have and then kind of launch it from the video. So stay tuned for that. I'm leaning towards that unless something changes where I can't physically do that. That's what I'm leaning towards, is to do something like this where we can talk about it and have any questions and then launch right from there to get going. So sooner the better. Again, I'm doing last few setup. Sorry, last little bit of setup here at the home gym, at the studio to get things ready. And then again, finalizing kind of the systems that I need to have in place for both the virtual fitness platform where we take things another level, more equipment, different classes, again, a little bit of accountability with that kind of investment that you'll have, and the online fitness coaching, where again, some very more one-on-one specific to you and what you want to do. If you're looking for that sort of coaching and guidance, those two platforms are coming soon. She might be Kimmy, I don't know. It is 7:00 on a Sunday, so it's possible for her for that, Kimmy. So again, thanks for being here. Stay tuned for that. Again, this week we're gonna go. I'm gonna go replays again, just because I still have a bit more to do here. So multi-joint Monday will be a replay, and Thursday, Friday will be as well. Unless something changes, then I'll post and let you guys know. But I'll post those replays for you again. There's a ton there, 7 months worth of classes to check out at your leisure if you want to do that. But I'll post the replays for us to have. Stay safe, gang. Remember, drink your water, get your fresh air break. take good care of yourself. So important right now. Dial up that self-care. Dial it up. Ramp it up. Self-care is one of the most important things right now that we need to look at. Self-care, and that ties into everything we just talked about. Remember, always strive. Always make yourself the priority you deserve to be by striving to be operationally fit. Take care, gang. Enjoy the night, and we'll